Hi everyone, my name is Mahi and welcome back to Close Encounters, the podcast.
Hi everyone, it's Mahi. Welcome back to Close Encounters, the podcast where we give students a platform to be whoever they want to be. Today, we are joined by someone who is not only an academic genius, she is also a female in STEM, actively pursuing her degree in computer science and mathematics from Michigan State University. Just take that in. Computer science and maths together, not separate. Together, she's actively indulging herself in the world of tech and all those exciting things while she also develops an app. So she has a lot going on for herself. So let's welcome my guest today, Divya.
Hi.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me here. I'm super
No
excited.
worries. You're welcome. So how has life been for you? We're going to talk about a lot of exciting things. We're going to talk about, what you've been up to and some other, exciting things that you probably don't get the chance to talk about a lot. So how have you been lately? How's summer break going for you?
Summer break has been just amazing. It's been a really wonderful summer. I just wrapped up my internship at a tech company called TechSmith in East Lansing a few weeks back in August, and then just been working on upskilling myself in the area of cloud computing, which is something I'm really passionate about. And it's been amazing.
That's crazy. Let's talk about travel for a second because I remember you told me traveling is, one of your passions and it's like a hobby that you have. You love exploring new places and things like that. So, you finished high school and you went to live away from your family, back where you are in Michigan. So how has that been for you? Do you think you enjoy your newfound freedom or do you prefer the safety net of like your parents being there or you're just like a free bird and you're like, I love life?
That is actually a very tricky question to answer. Initially, I did enjoy my newfound freedom. It was nice to just be in a new place, interact with people in the local area from East Lansing. That's where I live in Michigan. And over time, I think the weight of staying on your own grows on you, and you start just having to do things on your own. And that's when you kind of wish that it would have been nice if there was someone like my family to help me out. But I'm always gonna miss them wherever I'll be. And but nevertheless, I still love the place. Everybody's super awesome and amazing in Michigan, and the food is amazing. We have good Indian food, so it's kind of like a home away from home at this point.
Nice. So, did you have any like experience any culture shocks when you first, went away for uni and you're like you have to settle there for a while? So, what is something that really surprised you or like shocked you about Michigan where you were like, "Oh, okay, this is kind of weird, but I have to get used to it."
Yeah, I vividly remember telling this to one of my friends this summer. So the thing about Michigan is it's known for its unstable weather. So literally like 2 days ago in the morning it was raining cats and dogs, and then at like noon it was blazing sunlight, and then by 4 p.m. it was just a really bad storm that knocked off a tree. And that's the kind of thing you don't see in Dubai. So that was not exactly a culture shock, but more of like a location shock, in my opinion. And it took me a while to get adjusted to that, but I think I like it.
Oh, that's crazy. Do you think that's what I wonder, the winters over there? Because in my mind, when I hear Michigan, I have sort of like a preconceived like image about it. The winters, how are the winters there? Because I think they're just like terrible and dull and like super freezing. So what is like in your experience, how are the winters there?
The winters can get rough, but I think having a cup of ice cream when it snows really badly is some of my best memories with friends that I've had. It's nice to do rebellious things sometimes, and I think if you dress well, you should be pretty okay with the winter. And it's the best time to make snowmen, which is something I love to do.
Amazing. That's nice to hear. So, moving into such a big country, all by yourself, kind of, your family is there to support you maybe for a couple of days and then you're kind of on your own. As you went around and you walked around and you kind of saw people everywhere from different backgrounds and different kinds of people that I personally think we don't really have the luxury of seeing over here. because we're so like in such a protected environment. And when you see all kinds of people over there, it gets overwhelming and you might get a little scared. So, did you sort of go through, I don't want to say identity crisis, but did you sort of have a hard time sort of finding your identity over there? You're just like, I'm kind of confused on who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I did feel that sometimes, especially with all the pop culture references going around that I don't understand. It did feel a bit weird initially, but I think the best part about Michigan is people are really welcoming. And if you don't know something, you can like straight up ask them and they will explain it to you. And that's kind of something that I did during my first year that helped me settle in. And friends kind of became a part of my extended family there. And I started relying on them. They became my support system. And it's been wonderful. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're not like a pop culture person. You're not like that aware usually.
No.
So what are you into? Is there any specific music or show that you like or like specific genre of movies that you're interested in?
Yeah, totally. So, I personally am a fan of Mission Impossible series, Tom Cruise fan. I love action, thriller, suspense, espionage, that sort of stuff. Lately, at my internship, my manager has got me hooked on to Lord of the Rings, which is a totally different genre, and I love it.
It's that's so interesting, because like I wanted to like at some point squeeze in like a Lord of the Rings question for some weird reason, because like this entire time I'm like, we should totally talk about that. So have you read the books or just like the movies?
Just the movies so far, but it's been amazing. I think my favorite character so far is Sam, Samwise
Ah,
Gamgee.
I have limited Lord of the Rings knowledge. I know Frodo, I know Gollum, I know the ring, I know there's a mountain somewhere. I don't know.
The mountain,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. So let's. Okay. Now, look, as I said, you are majoring in computer science. And then I realized you also wrote mathematics along with it. And I
Mhm.
was like, whoa, okay, that's crazy. And then you're also minoring in innovation and entrepreneurship. This is a lot for a person, at least for me, a person of my caliber. This is like a lot to deal with. And okay, I know that computer science and like tech and stuff like that, anything to do in that arena, it's like a huge part of your identity and who you are. So, how did that start? Can you tell me what really made you want to sort of explore this whole new world and it made you want to decide, like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
For sure, yeah. I can straight away say that the reason why I'm into STEM today is because of my computer science teacher back in high school in 11th and 12th grade. Her name is Miss Monica, and everything I am today is because of her. She is the person who kind of sparked that interest in tech and STEM within me. And yeah, I chose computer science in college because of the amazing, fun lessons that she had with us, the way she used to explain concepts. Python was the first programming language that I learned, and the way she would explain every single possible exception and the style of her teaching really amazed me and got me interested in computer science.
That's so amazing. Are you still in contact with your teacher? Did you ever sort of get the opportunity to tell her that she's been an incredible influence in your life?
Well, not really, actually. I should definitely do that. It was kind of sad because she left teaching our school. After our batch, we were kind of like the last batch of students for her. She moved back to India, but I should definitely try connecting with her sometime and tell her how big of an influence she's been in my life.
So, something I'm interested in knowing is that, as you said, you're interested in, all of these tech things, and we'll get into that a lot more later. But do you ever struggle to sort of, keep that part of yourself alive, on days when you're just not feeling your best and you have to do all these things? Do you ever just sort of struggle to keep up with that version of yourself?
100%. Burnout is real, and I've faced that so many times, even during this year. And I think the best thing that I do when I feel like I'm burning out or when I feel like I have too much on my plate is to try to make less decisions as possible in my personal life. like wear the same T-shirt every single day. Well, not the same exact T-shirt, but like I buy multiple colors of I buy multiple T-shirts in the same color and then just wear that for a consecutive number of days. So that kind of reduces the number of decisions I have to make on what to wear, which is a kind of an important decision you have to do when you wake up in the morning and you want to look good when you go to your classes and stuff. So making less decisions kind of helped me burn out. And yeah, just relying on friends, talking to family. That's something I do when I feel like I have a lot on my plate.
Amazing. I didn't really want to use the word burnout, but I feel like it's something a lot more people have been talking to me about. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting to see how you just like said that, like off the top of your head, you're like, I yes, I go through that. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
That's really interesting to hear. I like the whole analogy of like not having to choose your outfits because I go through hell, choosing through outfits. I have a closet full of clothes, but then it's like all of a sudden when I have to pick something, I have nothing to wear. So
That's
kind of
true.
a common scenario. So, are you like a morning person, or do you have like early morning classes?
It kind of varies from semester to semester, but I'm usually not an early morning person. So I tend to take my first class at around 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. in the morning. The way I schedule it, I kind of strategize my classes so that I can sleep in during the mornings. But this semester, unfortunately, I have an 8:30 a.m. math class. So
My
yep.
sympathies. I I feel terrible for you. Wow. All right. So I'm really something that stands out about you, and I think a lot of people, I want to say, even in your school life, associated you with is, I want to say, being the smart kid. Did you ever have that experience where people just call you the smart kid, right? And you were a school topper. You scored like 99% point 99.2%, 3%. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not yeah. And so you've always had this sort of image built for you since you were a kid of being the, smart kid, and kind of in the school life, how we are when we see smart kids, we're always just like, oh well, they have no problems, you're just perfect every way they are. So growing up, people had this perception about you, and it sort of led onto you later in life. Do you think you're kind of forced to maintain this persona since you were a kid? Like, did you ever feel that pressure to be someone you don't necessarily feel like, whether that's pressure from your peers, your family, or even pressure from you that you build up on yourself on being extremely smart and being an academic and being just like best at everything that you do?
That's a great question. I don't think that pressure was something I felt per se at any point during my school or even college years so far. It's more of been like I've always loved challenging myself, and I just want to keep doing better things and making myself upskilling myself more in the areas that I'm passionate about. I just want to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday, and that has kind of been the driving force of almost everything that I do. So that pressure really hasn't been specifically there, and I'm kind of happy for that because it shows that I am really passionate in what I do and I just want to keep doing this. There have been times when maintaining it have been hard, not gonna lie. It definitely requires a lot of effort, but it's good to, I think, put efforts in something you're passionate about and just keep at it.
That's amazing. It also brings me to my next question, which is that from something that I personally noticed from like an observer's perspective is that you've immersed yourself in so many like technical and complex scenarios. You've done hackathons. Okay, before we can move on, can you tell me what a hackathon is? Because you told me you've won like five of them, and I'm really interested and impressed. So,
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. So a hackathon is kind of like a 24 to 48-hour build-a-thon where you just get together in a team of four people and you just use technology to build whatever you want. It can be a website, it can be a mobile app, it can be something with AR, VR, something with blockchain. The possibilities are endless, and the kind of the goal of hackathon is to use technology to build something that solves a global problem or like a daily problem that people face. so that you can make a positive impact in the community. And that's why I like hackathons a lot.
Amazing. Do you think it sort of pumps up the adrenaline in your system and you're just like, it's like a do or die situation?
Totally. I love hackathons because you get free food, pizza mostly, and
Hmm.
you get to drink as many energy drinks as you want. Red Bull is my favorite, and you get to stay up all night and just hang out with friends and build something you like. Yeah.
So is it kind of like you don't see daylight for like 48 hours and once you do, you're kind of like a zombie or just like,
That might be a bit too extreme, but it's almost there. Yeah.
So as I said before, you're kind of into all of these, you're in different clubs in your university, you do hackathons, you're building your own app, which we will talk about again soon. But the thing is that I feel like, when you spend your time doing so many things and involved in so many aspects of yourself, do you ever feel blindsided by these things to the point where like you kind of abandon yourself and you forget who you are and you forget to take care of yourself and you just ignore whatever's going on with you?
Yeah, I would definitely be lying if I said no. It has happened before. I think sometimes I get too excited, sign up for so many things. I just texted my roommate like a few days back saying I signed up for 7 hackathons this semester, and then she's like, "You're crazy."
Oh no. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Okay.
I know, but it's really it can get a little wild sometimes, and I sometimes have to make a decision whether I want to take care of myself that weekend or go to a hackathon with friends, and it I think it's boiled down to just choosing yourself sometimes and giving yourself some time to heal because hackathons can be exhausting and you're just straight up coding for 48 hours and you're just running on caffeine and no sleep. And I think it's equally important to give yourself some recovery time after that. So, yeah, that's something I've learned.
So, have you ever like done a hackathon and then after that you just slept for solid like I want to say 20 hours or like a
That's,
day straight?
yeah, that's the routine.
Do you go to classes the next day?
I usually don't. uh,
Ooh.
I usually don't, but most of my classes they have stuff online, like the content is uploaded online, and as
Yeah.
long as I get the assignments within the deadline, I should be fine. So that's kind of the way I organize and strategize when I plan for hackathons.
So let's get a little bit away from the techie talk a bit. Let's be honest. How many times have you like skipped classes where you're just like I don't feel like going to class. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna stay home and do what I want.
um, I have skipped classes, but it's usually so the kind of philosophy I have is if I'm skipping a class, I have to be doing something that's equally productive or equally rewarding as sitting in a
Oof.
class and getting some knowledge out of it. So I should either be working on a fun personal project, coding project, or maybe going to a networking event like a career fair or something like that, or maybe going to my professor's office hours to have a one-on-one chat with her, that sort of thing. So I don't usually skip classes like on a regular basis or for just funsies. It's more of like it has to be productive because you might as well be sitting in the class otherwise.
So do you ever just like let loose and let go? Or are you always like on a rigid schedule or do you always have to like sort of plan things out for yourself?
Um, I do let go. My friends and I, we usually have this kind of. It's become a tradition at this point. We do these Friday nights where we just get together and we share fun stories and just have pizza or order in some food and watch some movies. So
Okay,
that's a fun way, I think, to rewind and just hang out with friends, and it's become a tradition at this point.
amazing. Can you share a fun Friday night story with me?
A fun Friday night story. Let me see. We were, I think, talking about how. Let me try to think. We were trying to. Wow, you put me on the spot there. Let me see. We were talking. Oh yes, we were talking about how I'm a vegetarian person, like by culture and by choice. Um, how despite being a vegetarian, I don't like eating vegetables. I have a long list of vegetables that I can't eat, which include tomato, broccoli, cabbage, beans, radish,
What
beetroot.
do you eat then? Do you eat like potato? Like that's basically everything. Are you more of like a potato person or just like let it? I don't know. What do you eat?
Potatoes, some green leafy vegetables, peas, and then I think onions are okay. I've grown on to tomatoes; they're fine right now. Broccoli, which most people don't like, I'm okay with that, which is surprising. Broccoli, cauliflower, yeah. So that was a
So
funny
you're like a
story.
picky eater. You're like a very picky eater.
I am a picky eater. It's gotten a little bit better over the years. Definitely, I think moving to the states has done its magic on me. I'm eating more vegetables.
Do you
Yeah,
drink a lot of like coffee or like a tea? Are you like a tea person? What do you do? Do you drink like 5 cups of coffee throughout your day? It might be an exaggeration, but you know what I mean.
yeah. I don't drink coffee anymore. I'm more of a tea person, but I have been trying out a few energy drinks these past few months. Monster is my personal favorite right
I
now.
don't support that. I don't support energy drinks. I don't. I've never had one. I will never have one. It's crazy. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you remember, like, as you said, you do hackathons, you do pretty intense stuff, but you have to drink energy drinks to keep yourself alive and functioning.
Mhm.
What is like the craziest thing you've done after you've drank like an extreme amount of caffeine? You're just like, oh my God, what have I done? Like any like crazy scenarios or stories that you've sort of been through?
Whenever I usually drink a lot of energy drink or I eat something too sweet, I get like the sugar rush, and I'm just like really hyper, just constantly getting everybody around me to jump up and dance and just be like giggling all the time. It's funny, and my roommate describes it as me jumping off the walls. It's really pretty
So you
bad.
basically turn into Spider-Man.
Yep. Yeah.
So, okay, and then your ideal Friday night, what would be like 3 movies you'd watch for the entire night that would just make the night perfect, tie it all together?
Right. Oh my god, that's such a hard question. I so my favorite movie of all time, which definitely have to watch every time I'm on an airplane, is Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh my God, girl.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I know it's cringy and it's predictable,
No,
but
but
I love
it's
it.
really good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that and then I love Disney movies. My favorite Disney movie of all time is Big Hero 6.
I've never watched it.
It's about this. It's kind of like this sci-fi funny story where you have this friendly robot that looks like a marshmallow. So
Baymax, yeah, he's
Baymax,
adorable.
yeah, yeah. So I love Baymax, and let me think. I would probably watch Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. That would be my
Ooh,
third one. Yeah.
awesome. Very exciting. So I want to say that when you kind of let go, I guess you let go a little too much. I feel like given the person. So that's like the maximum you're willing to do when you let go. You're just like, I'm gonna have a sugar rush. And then do you crash down after that? You just like go to sleep and wake up like 20 hours later?
I do have a sugar crash, but it's not that extreme. It's mostly just me sitting on a chair or me just staring at a wall for like 10 minutes and then picking myself up and then wondering what happened in the past 10 minutes. And then and then getting on with
Wow.
work again.
Jeez, that's resilience, I want to say. You're a very resilient person. It's always getting yourself back up and like going back to work. I think that's a very remarkable quality about you is that you have a lot of things going on for yourself, but you also make sure that you're actively trying to be a better person and like pursuing those things, which I think, as I said before, it can, get in your head a lot. I feel like it can definitely blindside a person, but I mean, I think if it's in your blood, you can't really help it, I guess sometimes, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So is there anything that you do? As I always like to say that, when we live far away from home, there are certain things that we grow up with, certain festivals or certain things related to our culture that we do that really reminds us of home. So since you've moved away, what are some things you actively do to keep that sense of home belonging with you?
Yeah, for sure. I have been trying out cooking lately and trying out some of my mom's special recipes. Initially, it did not go very well. I just ended up burning a lot of stuff in the kitchen.
Oh
But
my God, do you have any exciting stories about that? What was like, did you actually burn anything down where you're just like, this is terrible?
yeah, I did burn something down like 2 months ago when I was cooking a potato, tomato, onion fry, which I wanted to eat with roti. It's something that my mom used to make and just reminded me of home. So I saw these beautiful vegetables, which I had grown used to over the over the past weeks, and I wanted to try cooking with them. And I think I had the heat on really high.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, and I forgot to turn on the exhaust fan in the kitchen, and so within minutes the kitchen was like full of smoke. And I couldn't see, and then thank God the fire alarm didn't ring. It got really bad, and then my roommate just came down, and she was like wild, mad. Well, she was concerned for once, and then she also got a little bit wild because I burned the bottom of the vessel that we were using to cook.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a funny story. We did fix it. We had to keep the doors and windows open for a few minutes, and then everything was back to normal. But yeah,
so I feel like your roommate is technically kind of like your babysitter over there. She just like make sure you don't like burn the place down.
yep. She would be very happy to hear you say that.
So
Yeah.
are you a fan of any particular cuisine? Like if you honestly just had to master one cuisine, what would that be?
Ooh. I've been trying a lot of Italian food lately. And Italian
Oh,
food is really amazing, and the way that they use a lot of garlic in it, I think I'm a fan of
yes.
garlic. So
Say,
yeah, so I would love to probably learn all their different cooking methods and techniques.
do you think you'll ever be good enough to like voluntarily choose to like go on MasterChef?
No, of
Oh
course
my.
not. Yeah.
So let's talk about this little app that you're making. What prompted you to go like, you know what? I've done a lot of cool things. I'm gonna do something even better, and I'm gonna make an app. And what was like sort of everyone's reaction around you? Another question? Are you someone who, when you do personal projects, do you tell people, or are you more of like a keep it to yourself person until it's done kind? Because we're always told like whatever you do, if you're doing anything good, keep it to yourself, and then once it's done, tell it to a limited number of people.
Yeah, I think I've also seen that working for me personally a lot of late. I've been more of a person who keeps things to myself in the initial stages, and then once I have the ball rolling, then I want to share it with everyone. And it's not just for it's not for any other reason. It's just for like me personally. I want to be confident enough to share it with
Mm.
everybody, and get to a point where I have the stuff that I'm working on in a presentable step in a presentable stage before showing it. And yeah, it's just a personal thing, I think.
It's amazing. So, what was like everyone's reaction around you once you told them you're like, I'm gonna make an app, and this is what I'm gonna do, and this is how I'm gonna do it?
Yeah, they were not surprised because the app that I was making was about hackathons. It's to basically an app which notifies students, whoever uses it, about the nearest hackathons that are happening in your area, and helps you like connect with other students to team up.
Amazing. That's exciting. So, have you ever thought of like doing something that's completely like, I'm gonna go out on a whim and do something crazy? So, if you could do one thing without like thinking too much, what would that be? Where you just like kind of go crazy, you want to do a weird job, or you want to completely change your major to something extremely weird or take up a weird hobby, what would that sort of look like for you, this completely new version of you?
I would like to go backpacking for 4 or 5 months.
Oh,
Yeah,
across Europe?
across Europe. Yeah, that would be my first choice. I am a huge fan of Switzerland. I've visited that place once, and that place has my heart. So Switzerland, and then maybe France, Italy. Yeah,
You can maybe learn your Italian cooking while you're there.
that's
You can
true.
show the chefs. I feel like because people there are so rigid with their food, it would be nice to see what you bring to the table and how offended they probably get at one point.
Offended they will, for sure. Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm having a great conversation with you, by the way. So I want to talk about a little bit about growth because you are, I want to say maybe almost out of your teenage years. We're kind of going into this new level of life. Do you see any, like, not, if you had to take a moment and sit still with yourself and just have one of those rare moments where you get to be alone by yourself in complete stillness and go inwards, would you see the transition that you've had from being a high school kid to becoming like an adult in college? What is something that you've progressively noticed change about you?
Yeah, I have experienced those sort of inward reflections before, and I think um, one thing that stood out is I've become more open
Mm.
to accepting different perspectives and accepting different opinions on a topic. Like when you're working with a team, people may not have the same ideas, and I used to be this kind of a person before, but I think when you are living with and working alongside different nationalities and people from different cultures, it's become a lot more, and it's become a norm of life right now for me. I think I just have to be more open to things, more welcoming, and not have any preconceived notions or assumptions whenever you talk about anything. Like even something simple like the way you organize your calendar or the way you organize uh, the way your room looks. It's something that's really simple, but it can make a big difference across cultures.
That's amazing. Have you had any personal experience? I think personal experiences are really powerful when it comes to like shaping our identity in a lot of ways. Have you had any like significant personal experiences that are like pivotal to who you are and that just like completely change the way maybe you see yourself, or change your identity, or like the person you want to be or are trying to be?
Yeah, totally. Personal experiences. I can't think of one. So exactly around this time last year, I was invited to my first ever tech conference, which
Ooh.
was yeah, which was in San Francisco, uh, the Silicon Valley of the U.S. So I was super
Yeah.
excited, and the conference was hosted by Google. And apart from being like the first ever conference that I went to, the first ever professional networking event that I had with industry professionals, I think this personal experience was really special to me because I was out of my comfort zone. I didn't know anybody in the Bay Area. It was the first time I had been on an airplane by myself. Uh, and it was also the first place in the US that I'd been to outside of Michigan. So it was like totally, I was thrown in the deep and I had to just make the most of the opportunity because it's not every day you get to interact with people from Google in the Bay Area. So yeah, I think that personal experience kind of opened up my view, the bubble that I was living in. That Michigan State University is all that I had so far in the
Mhm.
U.S. and the close knit bubble that I had in my mind kind of burst, and I got to see what people from other universities in the U.S. were doing, the cool projects they were working on, and people at Google, the fun stuff that they were working on, the fun stories they had to say, and it was a really enlightening experience.
Amazing. Did you think that it was sort of like a I made it moment for you where you're just like, I got here all by myself? Like, this is something I took upon myself. When we like do our own projects and once we sort of get that understanding of how situations work. You put in the hard work and you're like, wow, I got here all by myself. And this is kind of like a big deal for me that I have the power to do this.
Totally felt like that, yeah. On top of the world feeling.
Amazing. That's so cool. All right. So you also told me something exciting was that you enjoy doing karaoke. Tell me
100%.
what, yeah, exactly. Go out on a whim and tell me what like your go-to karaoke song would be and what it is. And if you had to do a duet with literally anyone, dead or alive, who would that person be?
Oh my god, wow. I really am a huge fan of Celine Dion and
Oh
her
my God.
music. Yeah, so I would love to sing one of her songs. Uh, my favorite one of hers is "The Power of the Dream." It's actually
Oh,
one of the first English songs I learned to sing, back in high school. I think it was the third grade or something like that. So yeah, I would love to do a duet with her on this very song of hers.
what's a song that like completely uplifts your mood and you're like you're just like screaming at the top of your lungs every time you go to sing karaoke. You're just like, I don't care if I sound good or bad. I'm just gonna scream it as much as I want.
Totally. I love the song by Bon Jovi. It's My Life.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that song. Yeah, way to go,
Yeah.
girl. Okay, amazing. So you also are a book person, book lover. What is a book that like really inspired you or that you like really wish you were inside the book, one of the characters?
um, Inspired me. Gosh, that's hard to pick. I'm gonna sound cliche, but I'd probably say Harry Potter because it's been
Amazing.
my childhood, and I kind of wish I was in the book every day. Yeah,
So you
totally.
you had a dream of being a wizard at like one point. I think everyone has.
I did. Yeah, I really wanted to be Hermione Granger, when I was a
Oh,
kid.
yes.
Yeah.
If you had to sort of be the author of your own story and you have the opportunity to like, write your own book and, go through, create this own whole new world of yours, what would that look like for you? What would that be?
Interesting. Whole new world. I probably so I'm more of a mountains person versus a beaches person. So I'd probably set up like I don't know castles up in the mountains and have kings and queens. Maybe it's gonna be cliche again, but probably something in the mountains. And then I'm imagining like the beautiful sunset that you get to see every day, and yeah, that's it's just that a simple, probably a simple life, a simple kingdom there. That's probably what I would do.
Amazing. I think you do a really good job in like the Men in Black movies or like the Spy Kids movies. Because you just like come up with things. Is there anything that you like want to create on your own, like a little gadget or anything like that? Or one day you're like, maybe I want to make something of my own.
A gadget, as in like a
Anything.
technical. Okay, just anything. Wow, that's a tough question. I don't know. Maybe. Well, I have been thinking of. So there's this part of computer science. It's called IoT, Internet of Things. So
Yeah,
I
I know
have been.
that. I know
Yeah.
that. Wow.
You do, yes. So I have been really fascinated about that lately, and holograms is something I know it's kind of making its way into the tech sphere right now, but maybe something to do with holograms, having more sophisticated smartwatches that are made out of holograms. That would be fun.
Ooh, very interested in knowing what that looks like because I holograms are full of cool things that I'm really interested in. So, our last question before we move on to an exciting little game that I came up with.
Ooh.
If you had to tell people, and if you meet a whole new bunch of people and you had to tell them who you really are, how would you say that? Who is to you? Who is Divya? Who is she really? Excluding all the things that you're dabbling in, the world of tech and computer science, whatever it is that you're doing. Honestly, if you had to describe yourself to people, who would you wish people knew more about you?
Yeah, totally. I get to do this all the time during icebreaker sessions at work and in college, and I think we have to come up with like fun facts to tell people about ourselves. My go-to fun fact is that I can sleep after drinking 2 cups of Red Bull or like 2 cans of Red Bull.
I
That's
think you
something.
should really cut back on the Red Bull just for your own safety.
I should probably should, yeah. But apart from that, I think who I want people to see me as, maybe just someone who's really a funny, humorous person, easy to go person. Doesn't really think too much. Even though I may, if they maybe get to know me a little bit more, they may probably see that I am involved in a little bit of planning and stuff like that. But I'm a generally a person who likes to go with the flow, um, and loves to travel, eat good food, uh, sing karaoke, and I've been learning to play the guitar for the past few
Amazing.
months. Yeah, acoustic guitar. The first song that I learned to play was "You Raise Me Up," which is a fun
Oh,
song.
amazing.
Yeah,
Gives me like a middle school flashback for some reason. So
yeah,
many songs like that.
that's true.
Awesome. So now we're gonna move on to a little game. It's the final part of our episode, which is sad, but we're gonna move on to a little exciting game. It's called Yay or Nay. Are you familiar with it?
Yep, I've heard of it.
All right, I'll give you a scenario or a situation. If you like it, you say yay. If you're all against it, you say nay. All right, prepare yourself. Get ready for this. Very exciting. All right, sci-fi movies, yay or nay?
Totally yay.
Awesome. Sleeping through a class.
Mm, probably nay.
Have you ever slept through a class or like on the verge of like falling asleep?
I've done that once, I think, but not too often. Yeah, just once.
All right, reality TV shows.
No, no, not really. Nay.
Really?
Yeah.
Not like trashy reality shows sometimes when you're just feeling down, you're just like, I'll just watch it for once. And it ends up being like really exciting.
I should try it out. I've heard a lot of people saying good things about reality TV shows.
You should. Like, they're bad, but they're so good. At the same time, you can't stop watching it. Staying at home.
Totally yay.
Awesome. Homebody, just like me.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple on pizza.
Nay.
Have you ever had it?
No.
Fruit does not belong on pizza.
I agree.
Amazing. Sleeping in the afternoon.
Yay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone has had a universal experience where like our moms make us sleep and like once we come back from school in the
Yeah.
afternoon. All right. What about sleeping till the afternoon?
Oh. Yay. On weekends.
Have you ever slept through your alarm and like when you had a class?
Yes, I've done that.
Being alone.
Being alone. I think it's a yay right now. I've
Yeah.
come to terms with it sometimes that it's good to be alone. You have to be comfortable with your own presence. What I don't
Love
want
that.
is being lonely.
Oh,
Yeah.
being lonely sucks.
Yeah.
I think it's a common thing for almost like a lot of people our age. It's just
Yeah.
the loneliness that comes with growing up. But I mean, you eventually find your people, I guess.
Yeah.
What about the last one, exciting one? TikTok dances.
Uh I have not done any TikTok dances, but they do seem fun. So I'm probably gonna say a yay for that.
Amazing. Okay, that's great. So that brings us to the end of our episode. It's great. So before we say our goodbyes, do you have any words of wisdom, or as I like to call it, wow? Do you have a wow that you like to share with the world? Any message that you want to say? Anything that you want to say? Look into your camera and just say
Oh wow.
it.
No, that's not it. Uh, let me think. I would say just do something you're passionate about and be happy when you're doing it. Don't look back. Don't have any regrets. Be proud of the decisions you've made and just keep at it.
Amazing. That was so good. that concludes our episode. Divya, thank you for being on our show.
Thanks so much, Mahi.
You're welcome. Thank you, all of you, for watching. If you want to be a part of our little podcast, check out the information somewhere here or there, floating around. Until then, I will see all of you in our next episode. Bye bye.